In 475 BC, a Chinese farmer documented a food production method so efficient that a single installation on a small piece of land could feed a family for generations without purchasing feed, without permits, and without depending on any outside supply chain. That method was integrated pond aquaculture, and it went on to feed more human beings throughout recorded history than any other protein system ever developed. Most Americans have never heard of it. That absence is not coincidental. The history behind this knowledge is worth understanding because it explains both why the system works and why it vanished from mainstream practice. Around 3500 BC, farmers along China's Yellow River began noticing that fish trapped in flooded depressions after seasonal floods would survive if those depressions were deepened and reinforced. By the time the Shang dynasty rose around 1600 BC, managed fish ponds integrated directly into agricultural plots were common enough to appear in historical records. For over 1,000 years, this was simply how rural families produced protein. Then a political accident changed everything. A Tang dynasty emperor in the 7th century AD banned the farming of common carp because the fish shared his family name. Farmers who had depended on carp for generations were forced to find alternatives. What emerged from that crisis was something more sophisticated than what existed before. Farmers began raising multiple species simultaneously in the same water. Different fish occupied different ecological zones. No competition. No waste. A stacked, self-regulating biological machine that produced more protein than any single species system while requiring less management than any livestock operation. This polyculture approach spread across Asia and fed hundreds of millions of people for over 1,000 years. When European settlers arrived in America, they brought cattle and chickens, animals requiring continuous purchased feed and constant labor. By the 20th century, backyard ponds in America had been reduced to decorative koi installations with no productive function. The knowledge had not been destroyed. It had simply been allowed to become invisible. In the 1960s, researchers at Auburn University in Alabama recovered and tested those ancient methods on American soil. They constructed small test ponds, some under 100 square meters, stocked with native species using polyculture principles. The documented yields reached up to 160 kilograms of protein from ponds that size, managed with basic biological fertilization and no purchased feed. A quarter acre of cattle pasture produces roughly 90 kilograms of beef annually, while requiring continuous investment in feed, veterinary care, and infrastructure. These small ponds produce nearly double that protein yield at a fraction of the cost and a tenth of the space. The research was published, acknowledged briefly by permaculture researchers, and then quietly ignored by the agricultural establishment. Because the moment a family builds a productive protein pond on their own property, they stop purchasing meat from an industrial system worth over $200 billion annually. The industry had no incentive to promote the alternative. The pond is not a fish tank. It is a 4-component biological system where every element produces inputs for every other element, creating a closed loop that becomes more stable and productive over time, rather than requiring increasing inputs to maintain output. Waterfowl are the biological managers. Ducks integrated with a pond ecosystem do several things simultaneously that no purchased input can replicate. When they swim, they stir bottom sediments and release trapped nutrients into the water column. Their waste adds nitrogen to the system continuously, feeding algae, which feeds zooplankton, which feeds juvenile fish and surface organisms. Every action within the system triggers a productive response somewhere else. Cocky Campbell ducks, among the most productive utility breeds available, lay between 280 and 340 eggs per bird annually. 3 ducks produce up to 1,000 eggs per year from a system that increasingly feeds itself. Research on integrated waterfowl and pond systems shows that ducks with pond access obtain up to 30% of their nutritional requirements from the ecosystem itself. Aquatic plants are the filtration system. Cattails planted along shallow pond margins pull nitrogen and phosphorus from the water through their root systems, preventing algae blooms and maintaining water clarity more effectively than any mechanical filter available at retail. Submerged oxygenating plants like hornwort release dissolved oxygen, continuously during daylight, which is critical for fish survival at depth. Duckweed floating on the surface is particularly remarkable as a component. Under optimal conditions, it doubles its biomass in under 48 hours. Ducks consume it as fast as it grows, and it absorbs nutrients from fish waste so efficiently that municipal wastewater treatment facilities use it commercially. Research on integrated aquaponic systems demonstrates that plant systems can remove up to 90% of the nitrogen waste that fish produce. Fish are the harvestable protein output. For most American states, bluegill and channel catfish are the most accessible and broadly legal starting species. Bluegill require essentially zero management after initial stocking, reproduce independently, and reach harvestable size in approximately 2 years. Channel catfish grow faster, reaching 1 to 2 pounds within 18 months in a well-maintained system. Tilapia grow fastest of all, reaching harvestable weight in 5 to 6 months under optimal conditions. Verify local regulations before purchasing fingerlings. Beneficial bacteria complete the cycle invisibly. These microorganisms convert fish waste ammonia into nitrites, and then into the nitrates that aquatic plants absorb as fertilizer. This nitrogen cycle is the biological foundation of the entire system. Once established during the initial colonization period, it self-regulates permanently. You are not managing a farm. You are providing the initial conditions for a living ecosystem to organize itself. Total setup cost for a family-scale protein system runs between $400 and $600 depending on excavation method. That breaks down to approximately $150 to $300 for an EPDM rubber pond liner, $20 to $50 for fish fingerlings, $30 to $60 for ducklings, and $50 to $100 for plants and basic supplies. Location determines long-term success more than any other single decision. You need a minimum of 6 hours of daily sunlight but not full exposure throughout the entire day. Choose the lowest natural point on your property, where water already accumulates after rainfall. Working with your land's existing drainage patterns, rather than against them, eliminates erosion and flooding problems before they begin. Size and excavation. Target approximately 3 meters by 4.5 meters at the surface, with a depth of 1 to 1.5 meters at the center. This can be excavated by hand across a weekend or completed in a single afternoon with a rented small excavator. Build a shallow shelf of roughly 30 centimeters depth and 60 to 90 centimeters width around the perimeter. This marsh zone is where aquatic plants will establish their root systems. Compact 15 centimeters of wet clay across all pond surfaces. Sandy or rocky soils require an EPDM liner costing approximately $1 to $2 per square foot with a functional lifespan of 20 to 30 years. Sequencing the introduction of life matters as much as the construction itself. Fill with water, and allow chlorinated municipal supplies to off-gas for 1 week before introducing any organisms. Begin with plants. Establish marginal species on the shallow shelves and submerged oxygenating plants in deeper zones. Allow 2 to 4 weeks for root establishment and initial bacterial colonization across all submerged surfaces before adding anything else. After 1 month, introduce ducks. 2 to 5 birds are appropriate for a small pond. They activate the system almost immediately. The water will cloud slightly as they disturb bottom sediments. This is the ecosystem beginning to function, not a problem to solve. After another month, stock your fish at approximately 50 fingerlings per 4,000 liters of water volume. The fish will disappear into the depths and remain invisible for several weeks. Do not add more. They are present and growing in the cooler, deeper water where food organisms concentrate. For the first 6 months, your management activities are limited to monitoring water clarity, removing surface duckweed if it becomes dense enough to block light penetration, and maintaining water levels during dry periods. No feeding schedules, no chemical treatments, no mechanical interventions. The pond is establishing its internal biological equilibrium. By month 6, the first flashes of silver become visible near the surface as fish grow large enough to be seen. By the end of year 1, depending on species selection, fish approach or reach harvestable size. Ducks begin laying at 5 to 6 months of age. 3 ducks produce approximately 700 to 900 eggs during their first laying year, roughly 65 eggs per month, a volume most households cannot fully consume. Year 2. Fish populations reproduce independently if a breeding cohort was maintained. By year 3, you are no longer managing a project. You are harvesting from a living ecosystem that has integrated itself into your property's soil biology, hydrology, and local food web. Winter management for northern climates is simpler than most people expect. Bluegill and catfish enter a dormant state in cold water and survive under ice cover for months, provided one small opening in the ice surface allows gas exchange to continue. A pond de-icer device costs approximately $40 and maintains that opening through the coldest months automatically. Tilapia cannot tolerate water temperatures below 10 degrees Celsius and must be harvested before water temperatures reach that threshold or relocated temporarily indoors. Ducks are cold hardy and continue laying through winter months when given a simple 3-sided shelter with straw bedding as wind protection. On permits and regulations, in most American states, ponds under 1 acre in surface area require no permits or government authorization. You are managing water that falls on and drains across your own property. Fish species regulations vary by state. Catfish and bluegill carry virtually no restrictions across American jurisdictions. Your state fish and wildlife agency website lists current species regulations. In most situations, you do not need to ask anyone's permission to build this. The productive pond system described here generates protein, eggs, composting material, fertilized irrigation water for garden beds, and a self-regulating biological education in your own backyard simultaneously. Each of those outputs would require separate monthly purchases from the industrial system if you were not producing them yourself. Together, they represent a form of household food stability that fluctuating grocery prices, supply chain disruptions, and economic instability cannot meaningfully affect. The biology does not care about inflation. The nitrogen cycle does not pause for shipping delays. The fish do not require a functioning supply chain to reproduce. What Fan Li understood 2,500 years ago, and what Auburn University confirmed in the 1960s, and what the industrial food system spent the intervening decades making culturally invisible, is genuinely simple. A hole in the ground, filled with water, populated with the right combination of organisms in the right sequence, becomes a biological engine that produces food indefinitely while requiring less management than a vegetable garden. You need water. You need sunlight. You need a depression in the ground and the patience to allow biology to establish what it has always known how to build when given the conditions to do so. 10 years from now, your neighbors will be watching grocery prices with anxiety. You will walk out to your edible pond, pull a healthy fish from water that maintains itself, collect eggs from ducks that feed themselves, and understand in a physical and immediate way what genuine food independence actually feels like. Not the version that requires constant purchasing and constant dependence. The quiet version that simply produces while you sleep. The knowledge is available. The biology is ready. The pond is waiting for you to begin. If this shifted the way you see what a small piece of land can actually produce, subscribe and share this with someone who is ready to build something that cannot be taken away. The next system we uncover goes even deeper. You will not want to miss it.